So this week we have our 5 artists from week 1, Lift Every Voice, part of Art is Revolution. And I'm so excited to see you all, so excited to have you here. And I would like to just jump in. We'll start with Noelle. You can like wave so people can see you and then introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your art.
Cool. Thank you, Danielle. I am Noelle Spiva. I am based in St. Louis, Missouri, and I was able to do a video piece for the launch of RYOT's AIR campaign, and it is the kickoff. So the video that you saw, it featured all of these amazing artists, and I wanted to spend that time highlighting everybody and using the platform to be able to use our voices through a visual element. The video featured an artist by the name of Mad Keys. He is a music producer here in St. Louis and has been able to travel and move from St. Louis. And as well, there's another St. Louisan by the name of Ohan Ashe, and she was able to do her voicing, being able to protest and use that platform. And piecing it all together is just what I love to do with music and art. So that's what my work was focused on.
Great. Love it. Thank you for starting us off with this week too. That was really wonderful. Something else that we have not released of Noelle's yet is the playlist.
Oh.
Yeah. So Noelle, a little bit about the playlist for just a second.
Definitely. So there's a playlist component that is also along with this. I want this playlist to be used for anybody that is a listener of just good music. Every music artist that's featured on here is a Black artist. I wanted to focus on that, whether it's from the past to the present. There is, let's see, Jill Scott. We have Mad Keys as well, with a lot of bit of instrumentals. There's some jazz, there's some Afrobeat, there is some hip hop, R&B, and it's focused on every single week. So this week is Lift Every Voice. It's focused on that and intros that with, let's see, Common and Jill Scott, like I mentioned before, as well as Black Joy, which is throughout the whole entire playlist, as well as, that's the next one. The next one is Healing.
Yeah.
Healing, which is most important to me. I just feel like that's something that we all need through this time, as well as Black Future, using technology, futuristic sounds from people like Thundercat, Flying Lotus, and Mono Neon. So get into it, get into it.
Love it. Thank you, Noelle. So you're going to have to post and show us all where we can find the playlist.
Yeah.
And all that jazz. I know it is on Spotify.
Yes.
And you have to maybe drop the link in the chat box for us at some point during this.
I will do that right now.
It's Karen, by the way, over here. And actually, we're going to be posting that playlist this next coming week. I just wanted to give some space for your actual piece to shine. And, you know, we'll be posting about that too. So feel free to post ahead. But yeah, thank you for that. Super excited to share.
Karen, you have to introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I don't have my camera on because my room is a mess, and I kind of just wanted to listen in. I know most of you got to work with you. It was really nice. And then we have some people from RYOT too who helped out on the project. Matt is our project manager, and then Aisha was one of our designers and art directors. But hi, I'm Karen. I was part of the creative lead process at RYOT, and Danielle and I were able to kind of work together hand in hand to conceptualize and kind of make this happen, make it a reality. And it was so much fun, and I think one of the most rewarding, and just kind of the entire process, it was such a fun collaboration, even not even just like us two, but with like the artists and every single one. It feels like such a like team effort. So really happy to be here and can't wait to hear more from all of you guys.
Sweet. Love, thank you for that. Okay, let's keep going on with introductions. Someone go.
Oh, you cut out.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Anyone? Okay, I'm Jonathan. I'm a photographer here in Richmond, Virginia. I've been shooting, I want to say for the past 5 years. but I've never done anything like this. So this has been pretty cool to be a part of. I have 3 shots that were featured this week. One was from a pretty big gathering here in Richmond. There was a couple thousand young people. I want to say the weekend, everything kind of kicked off all across the country. And then there are 2 other photos. I'm sorry, one of a protest, a march here about 2 months ago. And then another is from a creative protest that was pretty cool, by a group called RVA 26. And they just have these creative protests one Saturday every month. And so that was to just give Black artists, singers, rappers, dancers, anybody with any type of creative talent to just speak and have their voice be heard. So, and then cool story, I kind of shared that with Karen and Danielle when we first spoke. I had actually bought this camera with some of my stimulus money, and I actually got it the week that the protest began. And so I'd never shot with this camera before, and I ended up shooting like a bunch of pictures and videos, and it kind of just blew up from there. So all of this has been pretty cool. So I'm loving it.
So great. What an investment.
I went into this blind, right? I just went into it blind and kind of taught myself at the protest how to shoot with it. So it's been pretty cool to tell my side of the story. So yeah.
Love that.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Awesome.
That's a cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Heather Polk. Just tremendously blessed and very thankful to have been amongst this amazing group of artists. Very thankful for RYOT, All Black Creatives.
Yes.
My work is collage, mixed media. 2 of the collages that were curated were actually pieces that I made last year. And I'm very intuitive when I sit down. I don't always have an agenda. I'm flipping through magazines, I find images, and then I'm like, oh my God, this is gonna be great. I'm gonna do something with this. And then I make something with it. And my journey into art, or being an artist in the capacity that I currently am, is interesting. I literally was making art for my house. And I had friends who were like, can I get a print? Can I get this? And I was like, okay, maybe. And I would say this past 2 years, my collage making has been more of a visual journal. I'm a written journal keeper, but I hadn't had time. And I was like, oh, maybe I'll blog. And if you guys are bloggers, kudos to you and being able to keep up with that. That's not my forte, but I prioritize sitting down and being creative. And it was only in 2017 that I really realized it has long time kind of been a very therapeutic for me. And so hence the name of my business, Art Cures All. I work in healthcare, but there are strong, very well recognized psychosocial benefits that we all can realize in regular practice of some sort of creativity. Doesn't have to be fine art. It could just be crafting, whatever your thing is, but find it and do it and practice it regularly. Very, very important.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We actually have some friends who just recently bought some of your work. And I love that. I love seeing my friends like collect Black art. And I think we just like had posted some of your work and he was like, oh, I need that. I need that in my house. And anyway, I love whenever we're all able to like support each other's work and just like collect art. And anyway, that was really awesome to me.
No, thank you. It was.
That's so great. Thanks for joining us. Like, even though you're in the middle of doing other things, like this definitely means so much. It's so good to see your face. All right, y'all, we're gonna hop along in the introductions. Who's next?
Are we going a particular direction or we just talk?
I think it's too late. I think it's
I could go because I was like, I'm like next to certain people. Okay. So my name is Mawaya. I'm an illustrator. Right now, I kind of transitioned to digital illustration mostly. Originally, I was just a painter. I was doing painting mostly. With my art, it is just like me. It is loud, it is colorful, it's very bold, but at the same time, those things were those traits were things I tried to diminish for a very long time. So my style started to shift right around, when everybody was in quarantine, at stay-at-home orders, and when the protest, civil unrest kind of sparked off, and you can see a visual jump from where my mindset was to what my art looks like now, because I was feeling so much emotion. I don't know what, I was trying to find a way to express those things. So my art kind of jumped in the direction it's in now, where I still am incorporating very colorful style, but at the same time, I'm addressing more serious issues in it. Because before, I was trying to fit everything in what I thought would be what I was told was a successful way of doing art, or a successful way I was taught to appeal to certain audiences. And this is how you get this, is how you get that. And so I just kind of just dropped all of that because I needed to find an outlet for everything, right? Because I felt so much, anger and grief, and then I was like, stuck inside the house, and then I feel like I was going crazy. So my art kind of shifted in that direction. I do try to incorporate what my vision is on how I see it as a Black person, as a Black American, because Black experiences differ with culture, but there's a lot of things that are rooted as the same thing, because depending on how outside influences kind of affect us. So mainly it's through the lens of a Black American woman from the South living in the North, right? I try to here and there incorporate other connections to the diaspora in there. So that's it.
Thank you. No, that's wonderful. I think that one of your, I know that there was a quote from you for this project that is something that you just referenced just now too. And that was, my work evolved as it became more true. It's become bolder and louder because I'm screaming. And that just like really stuck with me, because for this week, Lift Every Voice, it was also really guided by those words from Nina Simone, which are, an artist's duty is to reflect the times. And so it makes sense that as you tapped in more to how you were feeling and like what's going on in the world, that your work became more true. And I think that that's really beautiful. And that's just something that, as all of us have been going through such extreme times and emotions, we need things that we can hold on to that help us to express how we're feeling, help us to like latch on to other ways to express ourselves. And so, yeah, very important.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. All right, I think we have one more intro to do.
Hey, how's everyone doing? So I'm Cammie. I am from St. Louis, Missouri. I've dabbled between here and Chicago, but right now I'm here on the south side of St. Louis. I mean, I guess in a nutshell, I am involved with all things camera related. I sort of started out though as like a documentary filmmaker, did a documentary series here in St. Louis called Smoke City that sort of just explored segregation around the city. And, for the most part kind of saw to expand from like folks in West County, South County who had never like been up past that Delmar divide and like weren't really willing to, as sort of to be a tour guide in a sense of saying, get beyond your own self. Maybe you can understand a little bit more of the segregation if you get out of your little South Side bubble or something like that. But the work that I had featured in this particular project actually was stuff that I learned how to do over quarantine. So I never opened the Photoshop app ever. But when we had that great global pause, as they call it, I sort of like experiment a little bit more with photography, experiment with things that I've done before. And I think a lot of the work I've done has always been rooted, unfortunately, in pain, or I've used it as a way to heal from pain, or define my own pain, or explore it, or, you know, kind of try to understand it for myself. But I think as I've grown as a person, I've really sought to, you know, me and my friends would always ask each other the question, what would our art look like? What would our music look like? What would things look like if we weren't carrying the burdens that we were carrying? Would it be less interesting? Would it be more interesting? You know, what would it even look like if we weren't operating under the context that we are? So with that, I really wanted to dig further into the things that, you know, I think even a tweet earlier, it said like the Black experience isn't what's painful, like it's the exterior, the things that are on us. My experience as a Black person is actually incredibly beautiful, and that's more to showcase with these particular pieces, the deep breaths, the hugs, the familial elements of why I love being Black and wouldn't want to be anything else. So the art pieces that I featured with this were really cool because all of them featured, or two of them featured people that I really, really love. One of them had my best friend in a very peaceful state. The other had my grandpa, which was really cool to feature him with his dog tags, and even just, he'd never had a portrait taken in that way before. So just him smoking his cigar and getting to talk to him and let him be seen in those ways reminded me why I like creating art, reminded me why I love my people, why I love myself. And yeah, sort of served as like an introduction to me to dive deeper into that and see like, who am I when I don't base all of my art and all of who I am in the pain, but more so who am I when I lean more towards the beauty of the experience. So I guess that's sort of everything in a nutshell. But it was awesome working with you guys and seeing everyone's art, and I think we have a really, really cool group for our week. It's pretty awesome.
Definitely. I think that it's really cool that you chose to tell stories with all of the pieces that you had chosen for this week, and then just like stories of people you love. That's a beautiful perspective. I love that a lot. So we have a few minutes left. And I just kind of wanted to open it up to this thought. And then if anyone wants to jump in and say anything, you totally can. We know that as Black creatives, we are shaping culture, and we see it happen all the time. We see things that we grew up with as like norms and art being like blown up and expanded, and seeing the world also view it as things that are pushing the culture forward. And I know that sometimes as Black artists that can bring up like a lot of different emotions. But I love that this project, the focus is just on Black art moving the culture forward and telling our stories as the revolution. And so I just wanted to know what you guys felt like being part of the project and seeing your work expressed in like this future form, expressed in AR. Anybody can jump in. We just have like room for a little bit. Oh.
I have some thoughts. Especially I like how you framed it from a historical perspective, right? So I have always loved magazines and think about the first magazines that left a strong impression on me in the advertisements. And so that's Jet and Ebony, right? Mm-hmm. And the fact that I used a lot of advertising, my work, and just my history, my memories of the advertisements from the past, thumbing through old magazines in the past, but see the evolution of how we are projected is very, very powerful. And you really get that context when you're looking at very stereotypical, very domineering, very Mad Men-ish advertising, even in Ebony and so forth. But to see that style and how we are projected as just a culture, but the fact that I'm actually helping push that forward in the ways in which I am very deliberate about my creation is so powerful. And as a little girl, like, and especially, you know, being a lover of TV, to see, like, I'm here with you guys on a device, and then to know, I couldn't even comprehend AR and the possibility of that. But the execution of this project has been beautiful, and just couldn't be more thrilled to be an artist today in 2020 and have contributed specifically to this project.
Yes.
All right. Oh, is that my? So, I was going to kind of piggyback a little bit on what you were saying. I'm sure all of us are trying to do the same thing here, and that is live, create, and exist authentically and unapologetically, right? So, how we portray that in our art, I feel like from looking at you guys' work, I feel like you're really, really pushing that. And right now, there is a definite shift as far as Black artists contributing to the zeitgeist of what's going on, just how this project came about. There's definitely a spotlight right now on Black artists. I feel like the words "Black is future" is something kind of make my mind start thinking about Afrofuturism. How do we define our own culture? Because right now I feel like the way things are kind of happening or used to happen or has been happening for a long time is that no matter which part of the diaspora you are, we're really reactionary to things, and then our culture shifts accordingly. So really to some outside influences, and then that kind of defines our next thing. But I feel like right now, for Black is Future to be a true statement, we have to be the active party now. So now I'm definitely seeing that happen, especially with the artists on the Zoom, and I'm seeing it on Twitter, and I'm seeing it on Instagram. I feel like new things are happening, or old things are coming out that no one bothered to start. Especially with the way I'm trying to do things, I'm trying to say things so loudly and so boldly that you cannot help when you see it, but no, a Black person said that. They created this, and you can't appropriate it because it's so loud, and then everyone notices it before you got a chance to basically switch any kind of narrative about it. So that's what I'm trying to do. And basically, when you look at it, hopefully I'm conveying that any kind of expression that I'm drawing, it's so visceral that anyone looking at it can either empathize, sympathize, or understand what's being said.
Absolutely, yes, thank you. And we're gonna be featuring your work tomorrow too, so I just feel, it feels so good to have this like prelude introduction to the feelings, the emotions, the imagery that we're gonna be able to experience with your work. I can't wait to put that in my home. That's gonna be just, I'm really excited about that. Thank you. Well, you all, we have come to what is unfortunately the end of an incredible conversation. I'm probably going to take 1 million screenshots because I love all of your faces. So that's the really loud clicking that you're going to hear. But I'm really glad to have you all here. It's been really incredible to just have you all in conversation, to have seen your work, to be seeing your work, and then also be able to talk to the people behind it. Thank you all so much. This has been so incredible. I'm gonna do a screenshot where we're all waving. Okay, so before you go, I'm gonna do a couple. All right. Say art is revolution. And
Art is a revolution.
Revolution.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I saw
guys.
Candy, you had your hand raised. I don't know if you wanted to add something, but
no,
Go ahead. Go for it.
I'll make it super duper brief. I know people got things to do. I was just gonna say, I mean, to piggyback off of the two before me, it's just that like, when I envision a future of Blackness, I envision one where I get to rest a little bit, you know what I mean? Where I'm not so stressed all the time, where I'm not so scared all the time. Like, you know, I'm all down for the future is so bright in so many ways, like technology, art, and all these ways. But for me, the way I define like a future that I want to aim towards is one where I like wake up every morning and I breathe. And, you know, I don't even, I have no idea how to describe it because it's something I have no knowledge of, like the level of freedom that would come with like a future in which we're not, yeah, treated the way that we are and we wouldn't have the worries that we are. So when I create art, I want to create something that makes you sort of pause and breathe and just be, for especially for Black people looking at. I want them in that moment to feel like nothing could ever harm them, because creating art is the only time I've ever felt like, you know, invincible, indestructible. Like creating art is what gives me that. So I want for people, Black people especially, when they're looking at art, to feel like that. So when I see the future, I see one that we're just talking about art and we're not also worried about stuff in the back of our heads, you know. So that was really kind of all that it was. I want that for all of us as artists, you know, and just as Black people too, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're muted.
Danielle and Karen and team, you guys, this has just been an amazing execution. So I had to get that out. Sorry. And team one, week one, I love y'all. It's been great getting to know all of you virtually.
Oh, thank you, Heather. We love ya.
It absolutely has.
No, I seriously love you guys. Like, we all look like rock stars.
Agree.
I don't know. If you guys have to go ahead, but I want to, if you're open to it, I don't know if anyone else watching has any questions for any of the artists too. No worries if not, but just thought I'd throw that out there too at the end.
Yeah, I just extended it from half an hour to a little bit longer so we won't get kicked out, so.
Oh yeah, I know, I saw that. I saw that you extended it, but. Oh, that's okay. All right.
I was responding to you, and then I was muted because I can't work with Zoom all the time, but I wanted to say thank you for sharing that, for sharing your vision of just of what the future looks like for us and what it can look like, and what that breath and that exhale and that deep breath can look like. That made me just want to be there.
Yeah, we'll get there. We're working on it.
We will, absolutely.
You guys, I'll see you back on Instagram.
Bye.
DMs and stories. Gotta go.
Bye. Thank you so
much.
Bye, guys.
All right. If anybody else wants to hop in or say anything, go for it. Otherwise, I'm loving this. This has been such an incredible week. Tomorrow, we get to know more about Mawaya's work and see it and experience it in the fullness. So look out for that. Make sure to show her a lot of love tomorrow whenever we put her work out there. Today, we featured Cami. Cami's work is incredible. If you haven't seen it yet on the gram, go to it, find it, check it out. And yeah, this has been a real pleasure for me, being able to talk to all of you, curate your work, be in touch with your work. It's just also been really beautiful for me as well. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Danielle.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Oh.
Good to see you guys.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Everybody.
Peace.
Bye. Peace.